Hi, and welcome to day 5 of the Rebel Challenge. Well done for getting so far. You've done 4 days already, and I hope you're beginning to be more self-aware, to notice what's going on in your head and to realize what rules you're following, and that you do have more choice about rebelling against some of those rules. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? We are looking at the different parts of us, our different selves. So I want you to stop listening to the voices in your head that shout the loudest. And we can do this by starting to notice them, to label them, and then to decide whether we want to follow their rules. So this is just another distinction. So it's okay for you to notice the rules. You've looked at the rules earlier on in the week, and the thoughts and what might be guiding your behavior. And today I want you to think of it in terms of different selves telling you which rules are most important. So it's another distinction, and it helps us separate from this truth that we hear in our head, which is not the truth at all. So you hear this kind of language in everyday conversation. So, and you use it yourself probably. So part of me wants this and a part of me wants this. When you're in one energy, you decide to exercise 3 times a week. But then when you're in another energy, a different part of you tells you to go and get a glass of wine instead of going to the gym, or going to having another biscuit instead of having, some nuts. So there's different parts of us are in charge at different times. But also we have a group of selves that shout the loudest, that kind of tell us what we should do, what rules we should follow, and our inner critic then criticizes us according to those rules and what those loud parts of us say. So I know it all sounds slightly crazy, but believe me, trust me, that when you start to learn about about your certain flavors, certain personalities within inside you, it makes a massive difference to your self-awareness, your resilience, and your ability to choose your behavior despite what's going on in your head, or despite your emotions, or it's just really powerful stuff. So trust me, even if it sounds a little bit confusing. Okay, so today's practice is mainly to start building your awareness. If you want to rebel against some of these parts, if you identify some, then that's fine. But for me, really, the main thing is for you to notice, start noticing, and start labeling, and start separating from the voices, and not believing that that part is you. These parts are just one of many parts in us. They aren't the whole of us. They are part of us. It's not the whole of us. So first step is notice a moment when you're feeling maybe a little bit challenged, stressed, uncomfortable perhaps, and notice where that feeling is. Just kind of go, oh, I'm feeling a bit tense, a bit something's going to happen, but maybe a bit fearful, a little bit triggered perhaps. So notice a moment like that. And again, this could be after the event, and then you look back and you review it after the event, because it's difficult when you're beginning to build up this mindfulness and to build up this self-awareness, to always notice in the moment. And doing it after the moment is perfectly fine, so that you can practice doing that, and then gradually you'll be able to do it more and more nearer the moment, and then in the moment. Okay, so notice a moment when you're feeling a bit stressed and something's going to happen. And then notice what that fear is about, or what's that stress about? What's really going on underneath? What is the rule that you should follow that might be getting broken, which is why you're getting a little bit tense and scared and stressed? What does this energy or this feeling in you want you to behave like? What are you allowed to do, what are you not allowed to do, what should you do, what shouldn't you do? And start to understand what matters in this moment to this energy that's taken over. And then, does it remind you of anything? Is it a pattern? Does that kind of voice, can you hear a voice from your past, like an old teacher or your parent, or somebody that excuse me, that's all a bit annoying. So so does it remind you of anything? or anybody. Okay. And then step 3 is just label that. Label that as a part of you that's scared about something, a part of you that is really worried about this specific thing, or a part of you that stops you doing this, or a part of you that wants you to do that. And some of these can be quite obvious. So you might notice, oh, I've got a pleaser. That's my pleaser. It wants to make everyone happy. That's my pusher. It just wants me to get things done. Or that's my perfectionist because it just wants everything to be right. Or you can just label them as the part of me that doesn't want me to do exercise, the part of me that thinks I can do, that I need a plan, that hates not having a plan, or the part of me that worries about getting angry. So it doesn't matter really what you label it as. We have some common names for them just for ease of communication, but for you personally, doesn't matter what they're called. The main thing is that you notice you've got something in there that's trying to tell you how to behave, and you label it so that you know that it's only part of you and not the whole you. Okay, so it's not all of you, it's just a part of you. It just happens to be shouting very, very loudly, and you've got into the habit of listening to it and thinking that it is you, and thinking that it is the truth, and thinking that what it says is really, really important. And yes, actually, that fear is real, and actually, you are in danger if you don't follow its instructions. Okay, and that's just a habit, and that's not true. It might have been true when you were a child, because maybe if you did displease your parents, or if you did displease your teacher, or you did fail to achieve, then maybe you did get into trouble. Maybe you did get, slapped, around the leg. Maybe you did get punished. And so maybe these rules were true when you were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but they're not true now. You're an adult. You can look after yourself. You don't need to depend on others to care for you. So these rules were to keep you safe when you were younger. They are no longer relevant. Some of them help us survive in a society, in a culture where it works. Society works when we're nice to each other, when we show respect, when we follow some rules. But I would guarantee that the rules that you are following inside your head are much higher standards than the rules that it takes to be a functioning and responsible member of society. Finally, as well, the rules that you learned as a child were to keep you safe. They have nothing to do with you as a mother loving your children. As mothers, we want to love and hold a space for our children so that they can grow, we can guide them and nurture them, and so they can grow into happy, healthy, independent, confident adults. Doing that from a place of childhood fear and scarcity and, rules is not the most effective way to provide that space for our children. So I would suggest that we question those rules that have served us really well when we were younger. And some of them can work in certain situations now, but most of the times, especially in regards to our children, we need to let them go, question them, choose different rules, because we're adults and we need to provide that safe space for our children so they don't learn all these weird and wonderful, wacky, unhelpful rules that they will take with them for the rest of their lives. So, I mean, we are going to give them some crazy rules. So I don't want to add pressure on you about this, but to be honest, your life will be easier if you let these rules go. And as a bonus, your parenting will be better, more nurturing, more loving to your children. Okay, so well done. Have really, really try to get to know these different parts of you and talk about it in the group. Come in, ask questions, share your wins, and maybe tomorrow you will get a bonus day where I'll talk to you more about these selves, what kind of selves are common and how to recognize them, and just maybe a couple more tips of getting to know them. So keep posted for a bonus day and I will see you soon. Well done.